Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 5, I believe, of the Kona 2 cast. Um, this week we are going to have our second official guest on the show. But of course, I'm Connor. I'm your main host. I'm joined by my two friends, Braden Coriath and Dakota Vega. How are you guys doing today?
It's good. You?
You know, I'm just, you know,
Just being Braden.
something like that.
Well, I'm
Something like
doing
that.
I'm doing well. Thank you, Dakota. I guess I will introduce our guest this week. We have KRYSTAL Bennett here joining the show. KRYSTAL is a competitor in Essex with us and runs in a number of other leagues. So how are you doing, KRYSTAL?
I'm doing fine. Not really much to go over. I'm just doing fine.
Yeah, I mean, doing fine is better than nothing. So got a lot to talk about this week, even though it was kind of last minute coming up with what we needed to talk about. But we will dedicate some time to KRYSTAL here. So just kind of tell us what got you into league racing, what got you into racing in general. Um, yeah, what is there behind the behind the wall? What lore do we have?
I guess in terms of being a racing fan in general, that's just kind of been all I've known. I know I've watched NASCAR for as long as I can remember, and I started going to races at a very young age. But in terms of league racing and sim racing and all that stuff, that started back in 2022. I was in an offline league that had been shut down, and the owner of that had made a league. It was at the time called DIAR. It's now called Score.
Yep.
And from there, I've branched out. I've raced in Nora, I've raced in Essex, I've raced in Fuel. That's come back. It's been great. I've done many leagues,
Awesome.
almost too many to count.
Yeah, I mean, I think I know Dakota races there full time, but Braden and I have both made at least one start in score. It was Dyer at the time, but that's awesome. It's got a number of leagues there. Um, I guess tell us kind of about your career. Do you have any wins under your belt? Because I mean, at least for the three of us, I don't think we really know much about you besides what we've seen on the track.
Yeah, so I guess contrary to what you guys have seen, I am capable of winning. I'm capable of getting a championship.
Awesome.
I've gotten 5 pulls so far. I've gotten 4 wins, and I've gotten 1 championship,
Sweet.
and counting.
Do you keep track of your stats? Kind of like I know Dakota and myself keep track of our stats.
I do, yes.
That's cool.
So you can see in my bio, I keep track of my stats, but I only count all the points paying stuff.
Oh yeah, I see that. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, do you two have any questions for our guest? You've been awful quiet this week.
Well, we're letting her talk. What do you want me to do? Just interrupt her?
Well, no, but
Guest
usually
is
you're
guesting,
jumping
Connor.
to things, so I figured maybe you'd want to
We're
jump in
letting the
and ask some
guest guest.
questions.
I've got a thing called respect,
Oh,
Connor.
okay,
Okay.
okay, okay.
All right. Okay. Thank
Sounds
you.
sounds good. Well, that's awesome that you keep track of your stats. I think that's neat. It's
Wait,
kind of
how
nerdy,
long have
but
you been league racing, Crystal?
About 2 years now.
wow.
2 years. 2 years. Cool. Uh, where are you from?
Well, I live in Virginia. It's very
Virginia.
boring.
Well,
You're,
I'm sure Virginia's more
I
exciting
mean,
than
you're.
where
I
I'm
mean,
at.
I mean,
So
that's where you want to be though as a NASCAR fan. I mean, that's a place you want to
I
be right
mean,
there.
Virginia
yeah, but
is a nice, yeah.
I mean, depending on where you are in the state,
traffic.
you're close to Richmond and Bristol and Nashville. You got a few tracks within the area, so that's cool.
I mean, yeah, there's a few things, a few good tracks scattered around here, but I also have to deal with DC, which isn't very cash money.
Yeah, I mean, I've been to DC, but I I don't live in the area, so I can't tell you what that's like. So, you might not remember them all, but tell us about your wins and your championship. How did those happen? Did they all happen in one league, or how'd that go?
So the championship and three of the wins did happen in one league. It happened in slower.
Okay, I've never heard of slower.
Championship did come because the season was shortened, but
Still
it was
counts.
very competitive
Yep.
the whole season up to that point. Um, the other one though came at Dover,
Cool.
so that was very fun. It was actually my first win, and I remember I got that on pit strategy.
Mm-hmm.
The caution came out with about 30 to go, and I was the only one that pit. So I made a bonsai move. It stole the lead, and I kept the lead.
Sweet. My first win was not as bombastic. It was well, I mean, it was cool. It happened in the Cars Truck Series at Talladega. I don't know if I've talked about it on these
Wasn't that a
podcasts
DQ
before.
win though?
It was a DQ win, which is why
So
it's kind of
it's like gray.
it's a gray area, which kind of sucks. I've only
Yeah, it's
got
a
two
gray win.
wins. One of them was legitimate in kart, which is now Essex, but uh, I just lost my train of thought. Oh, so I lost to some person I think was who was making a one-off. They were driving a Lightning McQueen 95 tribute car thing, and they wrecked the leader in the trioval and got DQ'd. So I won, which was exciting for me at the time, but I don't know. It's kind of sweet and sour because it's cool that it was a win, but not legitimate. So I count my kart win as kind of my first win, but yeah. So Crystal had to go for a second, but we will go into our next topic, which is the Dover recap. I was out of town, so I did
Gosh.
not watch
Oh,
Dover,
jibbity jibby.
but Denny Hamlin won his fourth race this season, I think is what it was.
No way,
I
already?
think it was his fourth.
Are
Yeah,
you
that
sure
was
it's not
four.
3?
Yeah.
Are you sure it's... Oh my
No, that
god.
was
So
four.
that ties him with Byron for wins this season.
Oh my
No,
goodness,
Byron
he's
only has
about to
three.
pull a
Byron
2020.
only has
Denny
3?
Hamlin's about to pull a 2020.
Okay. I
Byron
thought
has
Byron had
three.
4.
Daytona, Coda, and
Martinsville.
no. Yes.
Yeah.
And Denny won Bristol, Richmond.
And
Where else did he
something
win?
else.
And Dover. And he won the Clash, but that doesn't count.
Was I
So he has
right?
3. Yeah, he has 3.
I thought he had 4. Anyway,
Where we get 4? Where are we getting 4 from?
You're
Huh?
counting.
I'll,
You're
uh,
counting. He's counting the
Come on,
Clash.
who's saying this
He's
stuff?
counting the Clash.
I might be
It's
counting
okay.
the
He's
Clash.
counting the Clash.
But
It's okay.
I will look this up, and while we do that, you two take it away with Dover, because I did not watch the race.
Well, dude, I mean...
I thought it was actually good.
I thought it was okay. I mean, I feel like this is the wrong race for people to truly be like... Because, I mean, people are really ripping in the next-gen car now. People are
not.
just...
Yeah, this is not. This is
People
not
are
the
sick
race
and
to be
tired of it.
crashing the next
But
gen.
this is
This
not the
not
race.
a race.
I mean,
This is
that
not
could have
the
been
pit-
so much
this is-
worse.
Yeah, this is not the pitchfork race. There
Like,
was
what am I talking about?
There was 3-lane Dover. Stop complaining.
Like,
That's
it's
where
not like
I'm at on
people...
it. You
It's
got
not like you...
3-lane Dover.
Yeah, I feel like it's just the very end of the race is what really got people because of the aero blocking.
Yeah.
And I mean, yeah, it
Well, yeah, but
sucks,
that's
but
just
like,
the product of the car.
it sucks,
That's
but
not
like,
something we can. That's not something we
dirty,
can fix.
dirty air's been a thing since, forever.
Dirty air's been a thing since aerodynamics has been a thing.
Since the creation of the universe,
Yep.
dirty air has been a
every
been a thing.
single benefit we get out of aerodynamics has an equal and opposite drawback.
And like, sure,
it's a Newton's law thing. Every single pound of downforce has an equal pound of bullshit.
and think about it. Think about it. So all these the years prior, right? The racing was good, and it's like, well, how were they racing good if dirty air was a thing, huh? Well, that's because the engines were doing a lot more work than they are now.
They
So
had
like,
power, so
if we just add horsepower, I wonder what would happen.
yeah.
Well,
Oh
what
my
I've
God.
seen in the past couple of days, what I've seen in the last couple of days has been not an intense trashing, but a trashing of the once very, very prominent love of the 2014 season. I've seen that season in the past couple of days be ragged on, and particularly the famous Chicagoland clip of Larson,
Slide job.
Harvick, and
Yeah,
Keselowski
I've been seeing
Oh,
some of
oh,
it
you're talking
too.
about
dueling in
slide job was later.
Chicagoland Slide Job was 18. In
Yep.
14, it was
It
Kyle,
was that
Brad,
yeah
and
that
Harvick doing
restart.
crazy shit. And that restart, and people finally realized that was not a product of the package and more just the product of the restart. Because and somebody made a very good point on Twitter of find a clip that good 15 laps after a restart. You can't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And people have, and I think the problem with the whole passing, not passing, whatever the hell thing is that people have forgotten that the race actually keeps going after 15 laps of the restart.
Yeah.
Like we're all looking for the first. We're all looking for the first 15 laps for 267 laps or 400 laps, and it's just not how NASCAR drivers drive.
Mm.
I mean, that's just kind of like, hate to break it to all the simple people out there, but NASCAR drivers aren't going to drive like it's the last lap on lap 210 of 400. They just won't. Like you're not going to get the 2014 Chicagoland restart or some restart from 2019 or some whatever the hell. You're not or some Coke, 2022 Coke 600 restart. You're not going to get that in the middle of a stage. Just
Yeah. I mean.
what I'd say is look at the racing. Look at a long run differently, because when you look at the long run, when you actually think about what's happening in the long run, it's so much more interesting.
Yeah, it is.
Like when you're actually thinking about what you're watching and not just keeping track of where your favorite is, then you're actually, not only is it deeply interesting, but you're also learning a lot, because while the Fox booth is not great, they do help a little bit.
Hey, long run racing is the best racing.
Long run racing is fantastic, and that's why I like that race. That was a race with a lot of long runs. And just a
Long
lot
run
of
racing
I
is the
love
best
the
racing.
races with high laps and high lap stages, like 120, 130 lap stages. That's just fun. That just sounds like a bunch of fun.
And
And
also,
it
I
is.
tell you what, Dakota, more of this next gen hate. People don't. So I feel like at the very beginning of the next gen car, people had this more figured out than they do now. Because
Yeah, actually.
at first, the issues were like, oh man, this car's gonna hurt people, and people were also
The issue
thinking,
is safety, but then when they fixed the safety, everybody just looked for a new issue, because that's what NASCAR fans
and
do. Instead
also,
of accepting what we like, we just look for the next issue.
here's another thing that people used to know, but it feels like they don't know anymore. These cars are like, they're basically spec cars. I mean, these guys are all racing the same
Yes.
goddamn car pretty much. And Chase Elliott had an interview, I think, about a year or two ago, where he said, like, this is awful. The parity is too much, because these guys are literally, like, just not able to pass each
Right.
other because they're all in the
Right.
same car.
Yeah.
And it doesn't
Here's the
help
thing.
that the horsepower is so low, so there's no off-throttle time at most of these tracks. Or,
Right.
like,
Well, here's the
barely any.
thing. Wait, what were we talking about? I just lost my train of thought over the course of like a second and a half.
If I had a nickel for every
The
time
parity.
one of
The
us lost
parity.
our train of thought.
The parity.
Yes, parity.
In 2022, when it was happening, getting 19 winners in a season was cool.
It
But
was
looking
cool.
back on it, that was really stupid.
Yeah.
That was stupid. 15, I can handle 15 winners over the course of the season. 12 and 11, 12 in the regular season. Throw a couple in at the, throw a couple of fun ones in at the back. Throw Allmendinger at the Roval, or some non-playoff guy at Dig, or whatever the hell. Just throw something fun in at the end.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of fun spoilers in at the end. I don't need to go 5 races into the playoffs without a playoff car winning. Because that's where we were at. The entire first round, if I'm not mistaken, was swept by non-playoff drivers.
Well, you had Eric Jones at
It was
Darlington.
Jones, Buscher, and Bubba.
Yeah, that's
None of them were in the playoffs.
Yeah,
and then
right.
Reddick won. Reddick won Texas. So that the playoffs started with 4 non-playoff winners.
Yeah.
And that's a lot. That's cool. That's cool. I think that's the variety in winners, especially because they're all 4 different winners. That's great. But when it's in the playoffs and it's taking away from the fact that there is a playoffs happening, it kind of messes with everything.
A little bit.
But I think the parity we're at now, where we can kind of get I don't know, there'll be 10, maybe 10, 12 slots full with about 3 weeks left to go in the season.
Here's the thing I'm noticing here.
That's nice.
Hendrick and Joe Gibbs are really getting it figured out, because obviously,
Oh
they're the only teams that have won races.
Did you
They've
see?
won
Did
every
you
race
see the
except
graphic
Atlanta.
of the? Did you see the laps led graphic?
Yeah.
From a
There's
couple
like
days or
Dude,
from
it's
yesterday.
insane.
It's like
a 500
it's like
lap
Hendrick
difference
1,000
from second to third.
It's like it's like Hendrick 1,000, Gibbs 850, and then 2311 with 180, and it's like holy sh.
And oh shit, what was I just gonna say?
The only drivers in Cup that
Oh.
that are not from Gibbs or Hendrick that have won this season are Reddick and Suarez. 2.
Wow, that's crazy.
2 outside of Hendrick and Gibbs this season.
Yeah, I remember the stat was kind of building itself up a few weeks ago, Joe
And
Gibbs and
no
Hendrick
Fords.
battling each other out, and now it's gotten to the point where I'm looking at it and the stats are actually kind of
Right.
nuts.
By
Nobody else is even in any sort of
At the
contention.
start of April, by Richmond, around Richmond, then it was oh, that's an interesting little thing. That might go somewhere in 3 months' time. But now now it's can somebody else win? Maybe.
Yeah. I get
I
what you're
could
saying.
I could go for a Blaney win. I could go for a Kyle Busch win. Maybe I could go for a Chastain win.
Yeah.
Totally. I could totally be
By the way, I just
happy with
realized
Chastain win this weekend.
both of the wins that aren't Hendrick or Gibbs were at plate tracks. So just to
Yeah,
add
We're
to
at
it.
plate tracks. Yeah.
So
That's just crazy.
yeah.
Literally, no one else is even close. No one else is winning the
nobody's even
championship
close,
this
and
year.
it's just weird. It's just weird this year.
I kind of it though. I think that's kind of cool. Just 2 teams just going at it.
I'm with it, but also I'm with it as long as we can get a couple of other, as long as they don't win 25 of the races this season. If they combine for okay, 25 is actually probably what they're gonna end up combining for. If they combine for
we're on the way
30,
to it.
right? I mean, we're basically halfway to 30 to 25 already. But if they win 30 of the races this season, that sucks. 25 where you can throw in a couple of Penske wins, maybe a Childress win, or another 2311 win, a Trackhouse win or 2, where you can throw a couple of other cars in. That's fine.
Yeah.
I can live with that, because at least there's a chance that something else is going to happen, and that's F1's problem, is that you tune in at 9 in the morning and you're what's going to happen. It's like watching a movie you've already seen.
You know the
1,000
ending.
times.
Yeah.
Like you know what happened,
Well,
and that's F1's problem, not our problem at the
yeah.
moment. But I do in the back of my mind very faintly fear that
That could happen.
could possibly end up happening at some point in the season where we just get bored of the same two teams winning. And I know that was a thing in 21 with Hendrick where they combined for 14.
A lot of
Larson
wins.
had 10, Bowman had 4, Byron had 1, and who was the other driver? Elliott had 2. I literally forgot Chase Elliott drove for Hendrick. I'm not sorry. I'm not.
Well,
I'm just not sorry. There's
speaking
nothing to remember.
speaking of Hendrick, the news broke a couple days
What about
ago
Hendrick?
that Kevin
Oh,
Harvick
yes.
is going to the 5 car for practice and qualifying at North Wilkesboro for the All-Star race.
See, I love this.
Because Kyle Larson will
I
be
love
at
this.
Indianapolis.
Kyle's going to be at Indy, and Harvick is, at this point, he's just ticking things off the he's just looking through tweets and posts of like, man, I wish Kevin Harvick blank at some point in his career, and he's just
He's
doing
just
all
doing
of
it.
them.
Well, like speaking
He's
of,
like, we've got
Twitter and stuff,
we've got a picture of him with hunting with Kyle Busch.
Yeah.
Like, what? That's
like
weird.
I feel like from what I've heard, Kevin Harvick was never really active on Twitter anyway, and now he's like really active on Twitter.
He wasn't super active, but he's on it more now. But more of in like an answering questions way. Of like more in the way that like Mike Joy's on Twitter. Like Mike Joy pops onto Twitter to like answer questions that people with
That people want
profile
answered.
pictures
Yeah.
profile pictures of them wearing sunglasses in their car
Yeah.
are asking.
So
The sunglasses car picture people.
I don't know. I think it's pretty cool that he's coming back at least just
I
to
think
practice
it's great.
and qualify.
I think it's fun. I think more people should do that.
Yeah.
Practice doesn't matter anymore.
And
like practice means jack shit, so just have fun.
Yeah. But yeah, pretty cool news there. Nothing really much to talk about with it, but
or like I don't know, maybe have more practice. I don't know.
or yeah, more practice. But yeah,
More practice.
So I guess we can kind of talk about Darlington a little bit. A lot of throwback schemes are starting to be revealed now that April's come to a close and May is beginning. We're
into May and we're into official throwback season.
Official throwback season. You have Alex Bowman throwing it back to Jimmy Johnson. Honestly, looks awesome.
That's a good one.
It's a really good one.
Really good one.
Ally did a great job doing that.
I think
they're such a cool sponsor.
I think it would have been cooler if because didn't they already throw back to that scheme for his final race at Phoenix a few years ago?
They did, but that wasn't as much of a throwback as it was like a tribute.
Well, that was 2020.
Like
all 3.
No, that was 18.
Well, yeah, at Homestead.
Johnson did the throwback to himself.
I'm talking about.
I'm talking about whenever all the Hendrick
2020, all the Hendrick drivers
at Darlington.
At Darlington, yeah.
No, none of those were the O2.
Yeah, they were all different schemes. But yes.
The 9 was, I think it's 20 car?
They all look the same, except for some have more black than others.
Car, probably like 08. The 24 ran the Coke 600 car from one of the years.
Yep.
Jimmy ran the double car, and Bowman ran... I forgot, so let's take a look. J-Ski to the rescue. He ran the 06.
So, yeah. Cool
throwback. So none of them actually in 20 threw it back to that, but Hendrick is on point with their throwbacks this year. They are really killing it with the Elliott car.
Yep.
Honestly, I feel like the Elliott car is now like not weak, but weak relative to what the rest of the team is doing.
Oh, hold on.
I think it's a good one.
No, hold on.
Good.
Hold on. It's absolutely remarkable.
It's a
Kyle
good
Larson
throwback.
is also Kyle Larson is just even more
fantastic.
remarkable.
Right. Larson's is fantastic.
I mean, for
and
me,
Bowman's is really, really good.
my favorite throwbacks of all time are probably when Chastain and Suarez threw it back to Junior and Earnhardt.
That was,
from
Those were
Japan.
that was
good.
cool. Yeah.
But
Those were good.
that Kyle Larson one, man. Oh my goodness. And dude, William Byron's is apparently like
The
the
09
this
DuPont.
William
Gen-
Byron's is
the
Gordon's
Gen 5
09 or 10.
Gen 5
black
Yeah, the
flames.
Stardom
That,
DuPont
might,
flames.
that honestly might be my favorite of all time.
That's
That
great.
might be
the
my
last
favorite throwback of all time.
order.
That is gonna look
If
nuts.
they do it right, and I know they will, it's going to be one of the best of all time.
Dude, it's oh my god, man.
They
Hendrick is just
they're not. I know now this season. I know with the first three they've put out, they're not going to mess this one up because
Hendrick is just juicing me.
Hendrick has missed with their throwbacks before.
Yeah,
And
but this year
usually
they
miss
are.
Elliott throwbacks.
They're doing
Elliott's
it.
throwbacks are almost always misses. Trust me.
Well, hold on, whoa,
Well, what?
The only throwback that he's really had that's been like a miss was the one where his car got up because he wrecked in practice.
The hell did he throw
The
back
one that
to in
had a white-
2019?
The one that he had
He threw
in
back to some
2019.
car.
Well,
Was
I
that
think
the
it
Bill
was
Elliott
it was a
thing?
bunch of his dad. I think he's just been throwing it back. It's like his first. I will admit, like the first throwbacks he ever had were like just
I don't
super
even
simple,
remember
but I
the first
thought they
ones.
looked good.
I don't even remember this, honestly. I don't, like, it doesn't matter.
I looked up
Did
on
he ever do a
Google
Mikey car?
every Chase Elliott throwback. A what car?
I don't think he ever did a Mikey car.
No.
Oh
he
yeah,
yeah,
I
that's
don't
right. No,
hasn't
dude,
done a
that's
Mikey
that's a
car
car
yet.
they need to do,
No,
man.
Mother Teresa would have said no. Well, Derek Kraus did it.
Yeah.
Dude,
Howard did
okay,
it in
so
21 or something like that.
we got the Bill
Slapped.
Elliott throwback. Then there's the Alan
With
Kulwicki
Easter eggs,
throwback.
too.
And then like the very first one he did in the 25 car, that was a Bill Elliott throwback.
He did one in the 25?
Yeah, dude, I have one of those. I have a diecast of it, dude. It's so sick.
I had no
Crazy.
idea he did one in 25. I need to look at that now. Or not
And then
25,
like
15.
every other year, it's just been a throwback to some old driver.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I guess this
I
one's
forgot
pretty
about
good. I'm
that
not
one.
gonna lie. This throwback kind of sucks.
Which one? The blue one?
It's like it's all yellow. It's 2018. Well, anyways, not all of them are
Oh,
bangers.
yeah.
I'm getting sidetracked. Maybe not all of them are absolute bangers,
Right.
but most of them are total
Elliott
bangers.
often miss, but Hendrick tends to slap, and they've slapped
Yes.
this year.
Brad Keselowski has a cool throwback with Castrol.
Oh yeah, to the Supra.
Yep.
Yes,
Dude!
the Castrol Tom Supra, the
That stuff goes
classic
so
of,
tight.
of anybody that's ever played Gran Turismo. They'd
It's
know
a
that car.
Awesome one. Corey LaJoie's throwing it back to his late model days with Razzle Dazzle Premium Grapes.
His K&N car.
His K&N
By the
car.
way, for me, that Castrol
This is
car
K&N
is a
car, yeah.
Celica throwback, not a Supra.
A
Because I
Celica.
like the Celica more.
Okay.
Let's see, what else was announced? Martin Truex Jr. is throwing it back to himself
Truex
from
is
just a few
Truex
years
is,
ago.
no.
He's
let's
throwing
get a
it back
grip on
to a
this one.
throwback.
That's right.
Welcome
Yes.
back.
Welcome back,
He's
Crystal.
throwing it back. Welcome back, Crystal. He's throwing it back to a throwback. We've got the throwbacks have begun to eat themselves.
We've gone full
and
circle.
Well, it was only a matter of time.
Who else?
You were
Who
speaking
else
of throwbacks.
to do this? But Joe Gibbs Racing.
Yep.
Oh wait, are y'all talking about Krista? Wait, whose throwback are y'all talking about?
Truex.
Truex.
Oh, dude, don't even get me
doesn't
started.
count
Dude,
because he
I
doesn't
don't-
have one.
I don't know the name. I think what's like auto insurance or something. That stupid
Yeah.
sponsor. I don't know what the sponsor's called.
Auto
dude.
owners, yeah. Auto
But they
owners
are-
insurance.
I mean,
Their
they-
throwbacks.
I don't know how.
I'm
I
sorry,
could not
they
tell you.
suck.
I could not tell you how
Every
they're
single
outbidding
one
Bass
of them
Pro.
suck.
I don't know what kind of money they have to be outbidding Bass Pro for that race, but they do it every year. And every time they come,
one.
they have the worst game.
It sucks
it
every
sucks.
time.
What Bass Pro Chuck Bridges throwback for 2020 when he wrecked Chase Elliott? That car was sick.
Not clear, Jack. Well, the problem with that car was that he ran it last year. He ran the exact same car in 2019, so people were bored.
Dude.
People were like,
Um,
he ran his 04 car in 2019 and then pulled up to 2020 with his 05 car and expected people to not notice. And it's like,
Yeah.
dog. That's what I
So
hate about Gibbs and throwbacks.
yeah,
They just
they
don't.
never are very good.
Dude, have y'all seen the Christopher Bell one? It's not even a throwback.
Yeah,
It's not a
it's not even a
throwback. That's
throwback.
just a car.
Celebrating however many
100
years of
years of
DeWalt. Like,
DeWalt.
what are
The
we
same thing
doing?
as the auto owner's car.
What are we
the
doing?
auto owner's car that Truex is throwing back to this year is 100 years throwback car.
Yeah,
It's the same thing.
it's kind of dumb.
So in 2030, 2031, we're gonna see Christopher Bell throw back to Christopher Bell from 2024, and it's just gonna be dreadful.
And people are gonna swoon over this game too because, oh, it's so
People are gonna-
original.
yeah.
Look at it.
Yeah, kind of dumb. So Daniel
I mean, that's what they
Suarez.
did with Kezlowski.
Yeah, Daniel Suarez has
Suarez got his throwback.
his
Shout out
throwback.
to Todd Gilliland.
Adrian Fernandez
Shout out to Todd Gilliland.
Todd
His
Gilliland.
throwback is sick.
throwing back to Todd Gilliland.
Yep, that's a cool one. I like what they did with the font. They
Some
even
of
got
those- Some of those
cars
are
number.
okay.
Late model throwbacks always
Some
go.
of the
Yeah.
late model throwbacks are cool. Some of the throwback to myself ones are okay. Like Gilliland is a great example, but like Christopher Bell throwing back to his own truck from 2017 twice?
Yeah.
Nah,
So
ain't it?
Brandon Jones is throwing
This
it back.
is just a massive rag
It
job
is.
on Joe Gibbs, and it's not, I can't. It's Joe's fault.
So Brandon Jones is throwing it
Fuck
back
Joe
to
Gibbs!
Going back to 2018.
2018 Dale Earnhardt Jr.
And that threw me for a loop because now we're considering 2018 old enough for throwbacks.
Dude, that throwback is awful. That's so bad.
It's pretty bad.
Not very good.
They could have done like 10 better cars.
But as far as I know, I
And they
think
went with the
that's
ugliest
is that everything that's been announced for throwbacks so far?
Brendan Pools came out
Oh, did it?
recently. Yeah, it's a
Must
Kyle
have missed
Petty
that
car.
one.
There's like two Kyle Petty throwbacks came out within like 20 minutes of each other.
Well,
It was
that's
really
cool.
Oh,
good.
hell yeah, man. Hell yeah.
It was
So
Brendan Poole and Daniel Dye.
cool. I think that's about
What
it
else is
for,
on our menu?
for real world stuff.
We'll come back to throwbacks next week. Ahead
Yes,
of
I'm
the,
sure there will
ahead of the
be
race.
more to talk about. So we'll quickly go over Gnarl with Daytona, the season debut. I finished a solid 7th, and Braden DNF'd because of unfortunate internet issues. But when he was running, he was up in the mix a little bit. I saw him up there, so pretty cool.
I raced for like the first 2 laps, pretty much. So
You have terrible luck at Daytona, it seems.
don't even get me started.
Yeah.
So the past 5 months, I don't want to talk about.
But
Hey, just be glad he won on your roof.
were you
It's a good point.
in Daytona, Crystal?
Not for Gnarl this time,
Okay.
but just be glad you don't go on your roof so much.
Well, I actually, for once, had some good luck with plate racing, and was never upside down. I did get wrecked once, but the damage wasn't bad, so
It was pretty damaging to your heart, I feel.
it was
Pretty
damaging to my
soul-crushing.
heart because I was wrecked from the lead, leading the inside line because the guys on the outside don't know how to push. But it's okay. No hard feelings, and I ended up having a good run. So we're moving on to California, Fontana. We'll see how that goes. The first real racetrack, if you want to say, of the season. Kona 2 Racing usually has pretty good intermediate cars, so we'll see how that goes. But
Yeah, I mean we have a few wins on
a few wins.
Is my win the only one on intermediates?
Braden's
I hope not.
Well, that's a
win is-
2-miler. That's a
If you
2
want to
miler.
Braden-
consider it a 2-mile
Braden's
intermediate,
Michigan and Auto Club are intermediates.
I would consider them
Me
intermediates.
and Braden. are
I categorize those into their own category. I just call them 2-milers. Not
Yeah.
a plate tracker or like a 1.5 intermediate. I
Yep.
just call it a 2-miler.
Get that. Essex, this is always where we talk the most about leagues because it's our main league. Just raced at Mid-Ohio, the road course, and honestly went okay. It was
I
pretty
didn't think it went too bad.
pretty solid race. Victor Delgado got his first win of the season, I believe. Second win.
Second, Springfield.
Oh yeah, he did win Springfield. So second win of the season, first road course win. He races part time, so nothing too special. But we have some points updates.
I
So-
saw this, dude. It's actually kind of crazy.
Oh.
Ace Lancelot drops to third
Unless I think about
due
it better.
to their suspension. Kez Hiller takes the points lead with 832 points. And not far behind is our very own Dakota Vega. I am sitting
God,
fourth.
I don't even want to hear about it.
I'm
It's
sitting
just-
fourth
I
with
don't even-
780 points. So I think realistically I'm out of the picture for the championship. But if Ace has some bad
I'll-
runs, I have a shot at a podium points
If all
finish.
if all three of us have two terrible races and you have two fantastic races, you may be able to pull something through. But it depends on how
I mean,
how big.
I
races end up.
ran really well at Toledo, which is kind of similar. So
No, it's
we'll see. We'll see. I've lost hope
also
on the
I just
championship,
want
but
to in regards just an administrative thing for Essex. Elko can only fit 25 cars.
Yes, I'm
so yeah, I just wanted
I-
to make sure you knew that.
I don't think we'll get that
so
many.
we won't
But
be able to.
if
We probably won't, but if we do, and we won't, but if we do, we should. I think you and Ken should at least have some sort of vague contingency plan
we do, don't
for how
worry.
you want to go
We do.
about that. Okay.
We talked about qualifying into races a few weeks ago, so we've got a plan. But
I
yeah,
assume after Dago, we got 30.
Yes, Talladega
Yeah.
was where we started talking about it. So yeah, this is the second to last race at Elko Speedway, and then we head to Iowa for the season finale. Crystal, are you racing Elko and Iowa?
Yes, I am. I'm not gonna be going anywhere.
Awesome. Awesome. That's what we like to see. Braden, how do you think you're gonna do? You've had some bad luck recently.
You're talking to the guy that only finished like 3 races this season, dude. I don't know how it's gonna go.
Look,
I gotta tell you.
I obviously league racing is just a hobby. It's not mandatory, but I will say you just decided to park it a few times. So
Dude, okay, hold on. Because it's
What are you
in the
gonna
later...
do about it? What are you gonna do
I
about
know.
it, Connor?
what are you gonna do about it? But
Dude, hold on. Let me
you
explain
didn't even
here.
attempt Mid-Ohio.
Let me explain. Okay. So Talladega, I quit because I'm literally going like 80 miles an hour off pace.
Yes,
I'm not going to
get
do that for
one.
40 laps.
I get that one.
North Wilkesboro, I was already last place. Might as well just finish. Might as well just quit. That
Well,
race
you
was
you
awful.
ran most of the race.
And I literally
ran that
got
race,
my
yeah.
ass so hard. Unreal ass. And what's another track I've just given up at?
Watkins Glen.
Watkins
Glen you kinda gave
That's
up.
the one exception. Watkins Glen is the one exception. Okay, that is the only race I will not argue. That is the only exception. And then this week was because of my internet.
Yes, I'm kind of giving you hard time or whatever, but whatever.
Whatever,
So,
but whatever. Whatever, what, Connor?
I don't want to sound biased because it is my car, but I am pulling for Dakota to win the championship.
God, don't put expectations on me.
I-
I'm not
the only
putting
reason- the only
expectations on you. I'm
person-
just pulling for you.
The only person I don't want winning is Kez, because they've
Why?
because they've already won a championship.
But they
in this
deserve
league.
it.
They deserve it. I mean, they haven't won anything,
They deserve
but
They sure some deserve it more than I do.
they've been one of the, if not the most consistent drivers in the field all season long. The only time I can think that they
Ridiculous
weren't
consistency.
consistent was at
Deserves it far
Toledo,
more than
and
I
that
did.
was a steering ratio issue.
Kez hasn't
Right.
won yet, right?
No, Kez has not won.
No.
So
Does it
so
matter?
Kez, if Kez wins the championship and doesn't win a race, does that mean Brad in the playoff?
I've honestly,
It means it's Matt Crafton.
No.
I've jokingly
Yeah, so
thought
you're good,
about
Matt
that,
Crafton.
but it's happened in
Where's the
NASCAR.
playoff
We've had
coming?
winless champions before, so
Yeah, winless champions aren't a bad thing. I think they're a good thing, actually.
I
No, I'm fine with it.
I think-
I thought
I
it'd be
think if
funny
any,
joke.
I think if anything, it's proof that winning doesn't matter.
we've talked about it. I think on the podcast, but I do think we are going to update the points format. So no playoffs, but
Sure.
I do think
Playoffs.
doing better
Talk about playoffs.
will reward you more than it does now. So,
I think
Kez and
that's-
I
I
have
think that's a good thing.
to actually talk about how we'll do it, but yeah. I kind of have an idea in my head of how I'd like to see it, but I'll talk to Kez about it. But yeah.
Yeah.
2 races to go. 3 cars.
2 to go.
1 champion. If you'd like.
This is gonna end up like the Piston Cup, isn't it?
Oh, maybe
Yeah, it
we
is.
might have to go
Because-
to California.
because if I have a better race than, if I have a slightly better race than Kez, and Ace has a slightly better race than both of us, it's literally gonna be Phoenix.
3-way tie.
We're about to have a three-way
It's
tie.
gonna
Yeah.
it's basically gonna be whoever finishes ahead.
Pretty much. So honestly, it's gonna make for an exciting season finale.
It's gonna be a lot of fun,
I-
even though it's gonna drain all of the anxiety out of me
Yeah.
and use all of it.
But
It's gonna be a lot of fun.
then we're
And I've been in a championship position in forever.
yeah.
Feels weird. It feels weird.
I've never been in the situation of being in a championship hunt. I mean, this is the closest I've
It's
ever gotten to
been-
it, but
God, 3.5 years since I've been in a championship battle, like a legitimate one.
yeah, it'll be exciting to watch for sure, whether I'm in it or not. I'm
Yeah.
excited to see how it plays out because I think realistically, it's down to Kez, you, and Ace.
It is, yeah.
So we'll see what happens. Elko
I mean, it
is
really does come down to Iowa because Elko's just gonna
It's a very small racetrack, so
set the table.
a lot can
Elko's
happen.
gonna set the table.
hmm we'll see what happens.
So
All right.
right.
Any other leagues that you guys raced in? I know Crystal and Dakota race in Score, so how did the
Score ran?
previous race go? I don't keep up with
Um,
Score. So,
It was good.
where'd you race?
How long was that last green run, Crystal? Like 40 laps?
I kind of lost count, but yeah, it was a pretty
It was
long
a pretty
run.
long green run. That's a thing that Score does. Score does kind of it can get into long runs, and it's actually pretty fun.
And you
Most
don't
of the
even
races have
expect them to
gone-
happen.
Right. Most of the races have had a long run string in them, which is it's nice because there are some leagues that don't have them.
Yeah, but what
But,
I don't like about the runs, so the league owner likes to be in my TeamSpeak channel, and during those
Yeah.
long runs, he'll just drone on and on about all this useless stuff I don't want to know
Too
about.
Yeah.
We love Dan.
No,
Dan's a great guy.
that's not a dig on him.
You?
I like Dan. He's cool. Dan's cool.
I've
I
known
don't
him since
have it,
2020. I've come to find out that he is cool in some regards, but he's also just annoying as hell in others.
Well,
Yeah, I mean, that's-
we all
it's,
get like
you
that
know,
sometimes.
What it is.
But
Yeah.
Score's a good league. I just don't have the time
Score's
to race
fun.
there a lot.
Score's a lot of fun.
Like I said, I haven't raced there since it was Dior, so
Yeah.
let's see what else happened. I don't think any of us raced Maverick, but Maverick Mavericked this week.
Did not. Maverick certainly Mavericked.
I watched some of the broadcasts, so
I
Kinda
believe,
know
I
how
believe
that
it,
went.
it turned out to. I believe it turned out to 14 cautions over 125 laps,
Yeah.
which isn't too bad.
I think so.
Really, that's not that bad.
it made Nico Servideo mad. I know that for
It
sure.
pissed off Nico Servideo,
Love Nico,
which,
but Nico got upset, and I don't blame him because racing and Maverick
yeah,
would probably do the same thing to me.
racing in Maverick is dreadful.
So yeah.
I mean, me and Dallas Shake were going on about this in the score server earlier today, and Crystal kind of popped into it. And basically, the takeaway that I would have the thing that I would have taken away if I was somebody else was if Maverick does not give like it's not nearly enough reward for the amount of pain you have to go through.
Well, I
Like
think.
you're going through you're running such a terrible race, such a dreadful event of just the worst racing you've ever seen, and and apparently they're all doing it because of the small chance they'll get on YouTube for 10
Well,
people to see them.
there's that,
Like,
but
I,
the
I don't get it.
the previous race that was last night, the winner actually would get a diecast of their car, which I think is cool.
Okay, that's actually
That's
that's
cool.
cool.
They were gonna do
Oh, I
a
did see that.
Maverick's
custom
good
That's
at
cool.
that.
a
Maverick's good
custom
at that.
diecast of the race winner car. I don't know if it's going to be
That's cool.
race used, like with all the marks and stuff, but you would get to
It
a
probably
diecast
wouldn't,
of your
but
car, which is cool.
that's very cool.
And I've heard in previous
That's
seasons they will like
different.
give the winner merch, like hats and stuff like that, which is also cool.
Right. That's different than just throwing cash at a race.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
when you
Connor.
just throw cash at a
Sorry.
race, not Connor. I'm not
Yeah,
talking about
Connor,
I'm
you're
talking
gonna juice
about
up that
Maverick.
All-Star
We're still
race, huh,
talking about
Connor?
Maverick here.
I will look into things.
We're still talking about
okay?
Maverick here.
Goodness.
But like when Ben Snyder throws out like $300 purse for a league race at Daytona, that's like absurd.
It
But
is
a diecast
absurd.
is cool.
The diecast is cool.
The diecast is cool, even though it's still like a bit much for one race. Like a championship trophy of your car on a diecast, that would be cool. But for winning like a mid-season Maverick race, I mean,
Yeah, I don't understand why they did it
it's
for this race.
I guess it's
but
equal to a lobster. I don't know.
yeah, I mean Daytona they actually had a trophy that you'd win, which makes sense, but
And a bunch of money.
and a bunch
Yeah.
of money. But I don't understand why they do it like at a random race in the middle of the season. But I do think it's cool. It kind of inspired
And also
me.
the
I
race
think it's
was
going
the
to be
race was
way
I
too
think one of the
expensive to
first
do
I
that.
think it was
but
the first short field race of the season too.
could have been. Yeah.
They had like I think Dallas said like 33 or 29 or something like that.
Well,
Like they were like significantly underfielded
interesting.
given what they usually
Yeah.
run.
Well,
They usually bring 50.
any other leagues that you
And they couldn't even
guys
bring 35,
ran in
but-
this week?
Oh. Yes. I this is good news.
Good news.
I have made my first NR playoffs.
Congratulations.
First off, I'm in a playoff league, which is insane.
Yeah.
But second off, I made the playoffs with a race to spare, with literally 0 laps left.
Awesome.
I have done nothing but finish consistently in the midfield in that
Win a
league.
championship
It's-
right here.
The
it's
league is
consistency.
oh no, I'm not.
It's consistency.
The league particularly is Nascar's TJ Smith's, and he puts on a good show. It's a nice little chill league, short races, but their playoff cutoff is tomorrow night.
Yep.
And then they start, and then we do a 4-race 1-round playoff. He calls it Gold Rush. I think that's a fantastic name for
That
a
is a
playoff.
cool name.
I think that's up there and alongside Chase playoffs and I think it's like Chase playoffs and like Gold Rush are like the
Those
three
are
best
cool. I like that.
playoff names for NASCAR. But yeah, just that's my kind of independent operation at the moment, even though it's still running out of the K2 shop.
Yep.
We've got Chicagoland tomorrow, which is fun.
Cool.
I'm not a huge fan of the version of the track.
Yeah.
But it's it's what it is. It's honestly probably better than BBMC.
Yeah.
But making a playoff is something that I haven't done in Jesus Christ 3 years
Well, that's great to hear.
plus. It's been a long. I mean, it's been a long time since I've been. It's been a long time since I've been in like competitive in leagues that have like some of this stuff, like playoffs and whatnot.
Yeah.
Like that was like a 2020 thing, and by 21 I wasn't really full time anymore.
Well, that is
But
still really cool.
Playoffs are. It's reminding me how fun playoffs are to be a part of.
Yeah.
Because I've been a part of many of them. I've benefited from them. I've lost out from them. I know how it feels to be on both sides of a playoff, and except the winning side.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean I think playoff racing's a ton of fun, and I kind of wish more leagues did it. It's fun.
It is.
Uh-oh.
But I respect.
Connor's definitely adding playoffs.
Connor's going to add playoffs to Essex next season.
That's
and
right.
I mean, I'm down.
Sure.
That's right.
Go.
If the
Who cares?
season
Playoffs.
was slightly longer, I'd consider it. But for now,
If the season
we're
was
good.
16 races,
Yeah.
you could do like
10
you
and
could do
3
like
and 3.
10-3-3 or like 12-4 or like
Yeah,
10 and 6
something like
or something like that. But yeah, we are heading into North Wilkesboro next Thursday. We are playoff bound, and
Awesome to hear.
yeah, looking forward to it. It's fun.
Well,
But yeah, currently I'm only really running in 3 leagues. So
I think that's just about it for this
yeah,
Is
week.
it now?
Yeah,
But
is it?
I think so.
Let's see. Yeah, that about is.
That about wraps it up.
Unless we want to cover IndyCar.
Oh, this is a NASCAR podcast. We don't cover that.
Fuck you.
But
Make my own. I'll make my own show with blackjack and hookers.
okay.
In fact, forget the show.
But yeah, I want to say thank you to Crystal for joining the show this week. You were a great guest. We
Yeah, it was great to have you.
love to have you back on at some point, but we do have a long list of people waiting. So if you're ever free again
Yeah.
and we've got a spot open, you're always welcome to join the show again. So thank
you.
you for joining. It was great to learn more about you because I don't think any of us knew much about you. So it's cool to hear that you are a champion. But yeah, again, thank you to Braden and Dakota. Thank you to all of our listeners. And yeah, I mean, that's about it. We'll come back next week and wrap up Elko and Essex, wrap up NASCAR, talk about more throwback schemes. And we will have a great show next week. Probably no guest next week. It'll be a traditional 3-man show, but yeah, great episode. Anything else that you guys would like to say to wrap things up?
You tell me, Connor.
I'll take that as a
Can
no.
I get a hell yeah?
Baba Booey.
There we go.
There you go.
Thanks a lot, guys. We'll see you next
Way to
week.
send it off.